1.1 kilometres to go. The camera's dipping down and searching for Quintana at the moment, and I think they've probably picked the wrong group just for the time being. There we are. 9.9 kilometres to go. That's the Arredondo group, as far as I know. I'd like to get back up to the front, but we are at the behest of our picture providers here today, I'm afraid. And still the search goes on. Look at this.
Well, I want to see where Tony Martin and Kwiatkowski are now.
Here we are, just hoving into view. Tony Martin's handed over nursing duties just for the time being. And there it is. Now, the important thing is the gap between Kwiatkowski and, indeed, Quintana. That's not Tony Martin in front, I believe. Yeah,
it is.
It is. He's back with him. There we are. 9.3 kilometres to go. And I think we might hang around here, the helicopter-wise. No, back up front. And there are, to my mind, still the race favourites, or the stage favourites, Michael Landa and Rein Taramay. Of no consequence to the GC boys. They're thinking about gaps between themselves, and Kwiatkowski has put a huge one between himself and Henao Rodriguez and Quintana, who are behind him. Kwiatkowski starting the day way down the order, and in fact, just double check on it, 13th at the top of the day. He might well be our leader going into the time trial. We'll see. 8.8 kilometres to go. Some great racing still to happen here.
Well, this is becoming exciting, and if these guys are going to stay away, I just hope my boy Tom Danielson does pick up a stage win. He deserves one now. He's been trying for so long to get a big win under his belt, and I think that would do his confidence a world of good as well. Underneath
the viaduct, showing in ancient times the way to go. Carrying out the transport above these guys' heads. Up in the sky is the Aya. They've got to do it again. Second time of asking, not quite as focused.
No, far from it. It's got quite a steep start to it, and then he flattens out, up to about, well, it starts with 12.5% for the first kilometre, down to 8.9, 6.5, and then 5.2 for the last 500 metres of the climb. So it's still far from an easy climb to do, but definitely better than what we went up the last time.
Tom Danielson, 37 years of age, incidentally. We remind you, up the road, took the Tour of Utah on a couple of occasions, in fact, back-to-back, including last year. Meanwhile, this is Kwiatkowski, who's had a whole run of success, not least, of course, usually wearing the World Champions stripes. And he's got a fantastic man in front of him who's doing the pacing for him. Tony Martin, who's a superb time trialist, can also go up a few lumps and bumps on his own. There is Henao. Will he be wearing the leader's jersey at the end of today? There is Rodriguez as well, with Quintana just ahead of him.
Well, that is a big question, and then I think Movistar definitely hit the panic button a bit here with Kwiatkowski going up the road with someone like Tony Martin. They're working for him. Oh, 30% is said on that side.
Well, I'm not sure whether that was correct, but anyway, I don't think we've had anything more focused than we have on the more difficult approach. This is the benign approach to the Aya. Oh, well, less hurtful, let's put it that way, shall we? Kwiatkowski group and the leader's jersey, 36 seconds. So he's 6 seconds to the good right now as leader going into the time trial tomorrow. There are other time trialists who won't be overly worried by that, not least Quintana, but you never know what a man can do, especially when there's some climbing to be done within the time trial. And in fact, it's the same climbs that we're dealing with today at the end of that 18.3 kilometre run that they'll have to do on the time trial tomorrow. 7.3 kilometres of today left, however, and twice over the Aya, one in the easier way, and I say that, I use the term loosely, still extremely difficult, and then, of course, that brutal test that we've already seen to finish the day off.
Yeah, definitely, and this is going to be a very, very tough next couple of kilometres. Tony Martin is doing everything that he can now to just ride as hard as possible, go straight through this group and just turn everything that he has, well, turn himself inside out, basically, is the expression we use a lot. And then Kwiatkowski can go from here on, because by the time they get to the top of this one, there's only about 3-4 kilometres. You drop down, straight back up again, and you're at the finish. So whatever Tony Martin can do now, and then it's down to Kwiatkowski to give it a go. But 37 seconds, they're pulling out.
John Izaguirre, the Spanish champion, is just close to the front here. There is Quintana as well. He's still got two men working hard for him. Around him, Joaquim Rodriguez. Also now wearing the leader's jersey for Team Sky. It's the yellow jersey, of course, here. 7 kilometres to go, and they're on this climb. Out of these guys, do you think they can make it?
I think they've got an outside chance of making it, yes.
If they do, who's going to win?
I'm going with Tom Danielson. I want him to win. Although Galopin is looking very good as well. So
Galopin, Tim Wheelers, Valens, both from Lotto Soudal. We've got Tom Danielson all on his lonesome for Cannondale Garmin in the green accented jersey. Michael Landa and Rein Taramay. I think I might just go Michael Landa today. But who knows? Out of this quintet, anybody could win. Will they be allowed to? That's the case.
If you're going to use your head, I think you would go with Rein Tarame, because he's definitely looking the strongest on the steeper climb. So, yeah, definitely. Team Sky, Katusha, they're all realising that Kwiatkowski's putting some serious time into them, and at some point here soon, you know, the favourites are going to have to go.
They're going to have to go. Kwiatkowski is the man who's thrown down the gauntlet. I think they believe that they can close the gap and then squeeze him out when it comes to the time trial. We'll see whether that is indeed the case. Simon Yates is comfortable within this group, but the group is suddenly looking anything but comfortable, even on this lesser approach to this particular climb.
Well, it is a lesser approach, but it's still very steep, and you know, the pressure is definitely on in the front of that group. You know, Izagirre and the rest are certainly putting the pressure on, but I think certainly Quintana and Rodriguez are going to have to really give it everything they got at some point soon, because 36 seconds on Kwiatkowski, and once Kwiatkowski gets through a bit of traffic, he's got to go full gas as well, and yeah, he can hold on to this guy.
1 minute and 8 from the select group that have broken from the original breakaway of 30 riders today. We've got 5 men up the road. They're 1 minute and 10 clear of the yellow jersey on Enau. It says G2. The yellow jersey has disappeared, so maybe it's back to these guys. Kwiatkowski, a little bit of confusion there. If it's 1 minute and 13, then it looks like our stage breakaway riders are going to have their fun. Kwiatkowski's considering, or is minded, to get as big a gap as he possibly can today, in order to carry something of an advantage, if he can possibly make it more than 30 seconds, which was his deficit at the top of the day. He's looking for more than that to take into the time trial tomorrow. We remind you, it's 18.3 kilometers tomorrow. It's also up and down around Aya, where we are today. So it's a climbing end after a long 10K descent. Let's deal with that tomorrow, but nonetheless, that's the strategy of Kwiatkowski. As far as the other guys are concerned, they also want distance. Rodriguez is the man who needs it, because he's the worst of the time trialists amongst the leaders starting today. That's the gap he's got at the moment. It's coming down. 32 seconds. It was 36. So the power that Movistar are injecting here on behalf of Quintana, who's just down there towards the bottom right-hand side of your screen. He's on the back wheel of the red and white jersey of Katusha, on the back of Rodriguez, who's hugging the wheel of the yellow jersey of the leader of this race, Enau, at the top of today. Here we go then, 5.9 to go. These guys are having a little bit of fun. I'm not suggesting this is easy by any means, and it's a downhill, and then the Aya for the last time of asking.
Well, there's still a bit of climbing to be done there. That's a false flat uphill. I'd put that down to the slightly
1,500 meters to the top.
Easy, yeah, the slightly easier bit of the climb. But looked like Michael Landa going out for that one and taking Danielson with him.
Meanwhile, further back in Planet Hurt, that is Kwiatkowski, and he looks like he's struggling. He's trying to keep his arms down, trying to make this as comfortable as he possibly can. It's a question of who is around him as well at a moment such as this, and indeed what's the gap back to G3 essentially. The clock's counting, it's rolling on a pick point back to that Kwiatkowski group as we speak right now. You're watching the Tour of the Basque Country, the penultimate stage, the one that was designed to hurt, supposed to be the toughest, and so it is proving. Some big names starting to suffer. Tim Bellens is hanging in there with Tom Danielson and Landa. What a great push this is.
We could just see the difference there between between Kwiatkowski and the front of the peloton here, and it is probably around about 25 to 30 seconds still.
There we are. Lots of firepower installed here on behalf of Rodriguez. We remind you, he's the man that needs a lot of time. He's on the same time as Enau, the leader, and Quintana, don't forget. But he's the worst time trialist amongst them, and they've got the time trial tomorrow, so he needs a cushion. No bonuses at the line today. In fact, no bonuses throughout the entire Tour of the Basque Country. Landa, Danielson, Valens and Tarame are your quartet right now. Have we lost somebody?
Oh, we lost Galopin.
There we are. He did a lot of pushing early on, so Galopin has already as well suffered. Well, we said it could potentially be an Astana 1-2, and we're getting closer to that possible result today, but meanwhile Kwiatkowski is still trying to distance these guys. He's going to suffer, I think, because of the firepower, the manpower that some important guys have still got behind him. That's Katusha for Rodriguez, and Movistar for Quintana. It's a narrowing gap.
Well, you can just see the top left-hand corner of your picture and the bottom right-hand corner. That's the difference between the two groups of Kwiatkowski and the rest of the favourites. 17 seconds at the moment.
Yeah, Kwiatkowski's move has not worked, and he's been found out on this very, very tough climb. Has he got anything left to spring a surprise? So, two from Astana, Landa and Taramay. We've got Bellens from Lotto Soudal in the red, and we've got Tom Danielson, the veteran, 37 years of age. He's been very, very handy. Tour of Catalonia took the mountains classification, we remind you, to being out there a couple of days, and suddenly he's been in the break for the second time of asking here in the Basque Country, and he's found himself in a very, very, very select group right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if Kwiatkowski he looked a little bit on the tired side there on the wheel of Tony Martin, and I mean it's a brave move, big move that he's done. As Katusha now putting the pressure on the front here in the peloton.
No surprise there. It had to be Katusha. Time of asking for this one. I'm just trying to see who it is for. Is it Serpa Perez for Lampre Merida today? A little bit further back, we'll see whether he's working as well. Looking at the head of the race right now, it is our quartet of talent. And our Cofidis sponsored 5 kilometres to go sign as they come over the top. No Cofidis riders up towards the front. That is Kwiatkowski and Tony Martin. What a brave effort by them, and I suspect if the camera hangs around, you'll see that 5K marker just graced by the chasers. And of course it's Katusha, of course working for Rodriguez. There he is in position 5, just his wheel being looked at by the leader Enau, and just behind him Quintana, who surely will attack late on. He almost likes playing with his Quintana. He always say very, very difficult man to read, incidentally. His facial expressions barely change except when he's on the top step of the podium and he breaks into that amazing winning smile. Head of the race, you're looking at it now. 2 from Astana, the only riders with teammates, Landa and Taramay.
Yeah, it's certainly becoming a very interesting final here. Is this group going to be able to stay away with the favourites coming as hard as they are? And then Kwiatkowski, has he got anything left in those legs? Because that was a big move that he did on the final climb, up the steep climb. Tony Martin has done a lot of work for him, but at a pace where it's really quite uncomfortable the whole time. So I think if Kwiatkowski's got anything left, he's going to have to make a move relatively soon. Otherwise, they're just going to get swallowed up by the favourites again.
Well, there's some just suggesting that they'll be interested. Kwiatkowski knows that he allows himself to have a look behind. That's not a man that's brimful of confidence, I'll be bound, and I'm not surprised. I'm expecting the big move to come from Katusha, but for the main contenders to be equal to it. 3.7 kilometres to go. Those out front are already on the descent. We pick them up right now. They've got to stay safe and then just sacrifice themselves at the very last here.
Well, it's just going to be one drag race all the way up to the finish line, because this, like we saw the first time up, when Rein Taramay went, they all kind of keep the same, roughly the same pace. And it isn't really a question of whether you can attack or whether you can do anything. It's just go as hard as you can all the way up to the top and see where you're at when you crest that sort of drain cover.
To be honest, when you get to the top, when you're on the most punishing part of this climb, the only pace you've got is the pace that you are able to sustain, because it's almost the balancing pace, isn't it? You can't give any more and you daren't give any less.
Well, you can't go any less either, because then you won't make it up to the top. So
going all in is all they can do, isn't it?
There is only one gear, and that's flat out.
2.5 kilometres to go, so we're going to take it on for the very, very last time. There's only 100 metres of respite at the very top, don't forget, which is, so we will peak and then head for the line. 1:06 they've got on G2, so it looks like the breakaway's going to make it with 2.1 kilometres to go. This is the Kwiatkowski group, still trying to find something on this descent. It's very focused. They're calling the bike away as quickly as it possibly can, so we switch to the helicopter, and of course it's Jon Izagirre, the Spanish champion, who's leading Quintana. He's having some fun, and there's nothing Rodriguez or Enau can do about this at all.
No, definitely not. They're certainly not hanging about going through these corners. He's sacrificing everything they have and taking a fair few, should we call it, relatively calculated risks.
Yeah, relatively calculated risks. They're speeding into this. It is still the battle about the GC guys, but Quintana is going to be out-and-out favourite if it stays like this. Out of the trio you're looking right now, there's Quintana taking a last drink, gets rid of the bottle. Behind him is the Katusha jersey of Rodriguez, and then Enau in the leader's jersey, and sailing wide, and Tom Danielson picks it up. The big rangy American, he's going to go for this. It's kicking up now. This is the zone of hurt, and he's got no option but to have a go. The Astana boys haven't really lent on those up in the break, but they're doing so right now.
Well, they certainly are, and that was quite a tight corner going up into the climb. You want to make sure you hit the right gear and you don't have to drop down from the big to the little chain ring right as you're starting the climb. But Oh, it's just anyone's game, this, at the moment.
It certainly is. John Izagirre is the man who's leading Kwiatkowski there. Leading, I beg your pardon, Quintana. Meanwhile, out front, there is Danielson turning it, just waiting to turn this into victory, maybe. Head of the race, you're looking at it. Who's going to be the boss at the end of the day? Having a teammate in a situation like this normally is great news. However, there's only one pace, as Magnus has already pointed out. That's your coping pace, and in the end, they're just going to have to go all in and reach out for glory. Who's it going to be?
Definitely, it's a difficult one, but certainly Tim Wellens looks like the one who's hurting the most. And as Kwiatkowski and Tony Martin have just started the steeper part of the climb, so Tony Martin is doing an amazing amount of work for Kwiatkowski. I wonder whether Kwiatkowski's got anything left to give and whether he can actually accelerate from this now, because if he's got anything left, there's no point in waiting. He's just going to have to go right now. Yeah, we got Tom Danielson on the front there, and then we had Landa, and then I think there was Tarame on the last wheel. But Tim Wellens looking like he was hurting pretty badly as well.
Here we go then. That's John Izagirre. That is Quintana. There is Rodriguez, and they're all suddenly starting to join the front. And TJ's in here as well. That's an amazing recovery from TJ Van Garderen.
Tarame's been dropped on the front group.
Tarame has gone backwards, so it's Landa here left for Astana with Danielson and Wellens. That's who are left in the game today.
Well, it certainly is. Tom Danielson is looking very strong in the front here, but Landa's also turning the pedals over very nicely. It's Wellens that's hurting the most at the moment.
Well, Michael Landa may well have it today. Meanwhile, these guys are waiting to just turn on the gas later on. I think it's almost honours even for the time being amongst them. Kwiatkowski's plan did not work, I'm afraid. So who's it going to be? Who's your pick now out of this trio?
Well, if they're riding this slow, then Kwiatkowski's plan may very well work.
Just nosing off the front.
That's
is Simon Yates.
Simon Yates, yeah. Going
up for Orica Greenedge is having a look, which is fantastic. These guys dare not think about glory too much. And Tom Danielson takes a check over his shoulder, has a look into the eyes of Michael Landa. Tim Wellens has managed to get himself a bit of recovery. Meanwhile, these guys, it's all about the gaps between them. And I'm not sure how much as they sail past Tony Martin, who's burnt himself out on behalf of his teammates. And is that Quintana is just going up. He's about to catch Kwiatkowski. He's going to sail by. Look in his eyes, will he? Not a bit of it. He's just going to go straight past Poker Faced. Or is it one of his teammates?
Well, I don't think that was Kwiatkowski, actually. I think that may have been one of the AG2R riders.
Well, here we are. Betancourt was up the road and may well have been mistaken there from this kind of distance. In fact, we can pick him out further up the road. You're absolutely right. So back to our leaders. They're going to be heading for victory in a few moments time, but we look at the GC guys, spare them a thought. Pinot is also struggling to stay in. Likewise, TJ Van Garderen from BMC in the black and red. It's hurting everybody here, but as we said earlier, looking freshest amongst most of them is Simon Yates, who's having fun with us out here.
Yates is going fantastically well, and I wonder whether he can actually keep that pace going and keep the distance between himself and the other three favourites. They haven't really started going properly yet.
There's Kwiatkowski, and Simon Yates is just about to bridge over to him and maybe sail by, keeping his powder dry. Simon Yates doing a great job. Adam, of course, took a tumble at the top of this. The brothers were here, but just one left. Simon in his pomp. Adam will be going to the Tour of Turkey, which you'll be able to see, of course, on Eurosport live throughout. Looking forward to that. Meanwhile, the wrestle with the road goes on. TJ Van Garderen there. There is Rodriguez as well. That is Pinot also very much involved. Meanwhile, back at the front, it's about victory, and Tim Wellens has managed to make a remarkable recovery. He's grinding into this one. Michael Landa's staying in with him, just looking all over the back of him. It looks like Tom Danielson has finally been found out, and Michael Landa goes for it. He's kept something in reserve. We said he looked like he was the most relaxed apart from Simon Yates today, barely breathing it seems, and now he's showing what he's got. An unbelievable kick-off here for Astana. What a great win this is going to be, and win it will be on these kind of tests. He's the man who's got the legs, more than 4 hours in the saddle. What a fantastic performance this is.
Well, certainly going very strong, and he has looked good all the way through, and Rein Tarame has obviously done the majority of the work for him as well, so I'm surprised that Tim Wellens was able to put that kind of an effort in and effectively drop Tom Danielson.
Terrific riding, great effort. There we go. Crescit knows he's got it. What a day at the office that turned out to be. What a fantastic performance. Nothing but guts and verve, and with the accent on the verve, I suggest. What an amazing run that is. He comes through the crowds, it's that little bit of respite to the line, giving you a chance to rest up and maybe think about your celebration style. Oh, it has to be the best. Somebody had to be the best today, and you're looking at him right now. The clock ticks back. Great effort by these guys. What is the gap, though? Back to poor old Tom Danielson. And has he been caught? Simon Yates grinds his way through, and now is also playing the game here. Ed Rodriguez also wanting to be part of this. Kwiatkowski, Arredondo, plenty of other names, big names that should have been bigger on the day, perhaps. You have to take it where you can get it. It's Arredondo that's coming by him. I've got to tell you, Quintana's suffering. Simon Yates has some fun with us today. There is a great performance by Henao in the yellow jersey. Rodriguez alongside him. He won't take that yellow jersey today. It's going to come down to the time trial, and we'll see what Henao has got when that happens tomorrow. They'll be back here, don't forget. So this whole zone of hurt will be visited yet again. Lots of riders wrestling this incline. Simon Yates, gutsy performance by him from Orica Greenedge. There comes Henao to the line with Rodriguez, and the count back to Quintana. The big surprise of the day is just how much the little guy suffered.
Right, that was a fantastic ride by Simon Yates. I got really impressed with him. Kwiatkowski just coming across the line with Quintana there as well, and Scarponi.
Oh, check this out. How brave was that? The man that went down with Frank Schleck earlier on, relayed himself back on. He's grinding it up at the very